Hi all, this is Skate, and welcome back to another subscriber replay. Yay, 2 weeks in a row I've done it now. Okay, now this first match is not a mastery replay, however I found it interesting to watch, so I still wanted to share it with you guys. As well as being interesting to watch, I found this replay, we're going to go with educational. We're watching Jabowski in his IS-2, so we're just going to call him Joe. And there's certain things he does in this game which I think he does spot on, and there's other things where when you watch a replay back you can sit there and say, well, actually I would have done that differently. And I'm not just picking on someone else's gameplay there, please don't think that. I actually do it with my own gameplay. And that is the beauty of replays. They're not just fun to watch when they're masteries. You can watch your own replay back and go, well, actually I should have done this differently, and you can learn from it and not do it next time. So Joe is going to spot, and holy crap, he has spotted a lot of tanks, and this makes me laugh. Joe has spotted all of them, and the Proto just sticks his front end out anyway. So he's lucky he got away from that. Joe was doing the right thing. He's side-scraping around that corner, and he has already bounced one from that KV-3. And now we can see the awful accuracy and aim time of the IS-2, but Joe does manage to get his shot on, and he gets straight back into cover. Now Joe is being very cautious with his flank, which is the right thing to do, and there's a T-69 by there. But, if you watch, he's taken 2 shots, and there's the 3rd shot, so we know he's on a reload, so he's not coming back out. So Joe didn't really need to be sitting here, waiting for the T-69 to come back out. We know he's not going to be coming back out for a good 10 seconds plus, and there is the FCM-50T hiding behind a building, so we know he's not going to get shots on from here as well. But obviously, the T-69 is going to load, and he is going to come back out. The point I was trying to get at, by the way, is I'm not criticising someone else's gameplay. What I'm trying to get at here is, this is a good observation for everybody, and pay attention to, even if you're not engaging an autoloader, pay attention to how many shots he's fired at a friendly, if you can, because you'll know if they're trying to bait you out at all. And you'll also know if that tank is a threat or they are on a reload. So in that circumstance, we wouldn't have had to wait for the T-69 to come back out because, well, we knew he was on a reload, which would have given us a little bit more time to come and help the friendlies by here. So Joe's team is losing, and I don't understand this bit. Why did you load APCR to shoot the back of an IS-6 turret, buddy? I'm fascinated by that one. Leave a comment for me. Now, I understand, obviously, his team is losing, so it's a priority to help that T-32 to make sure that, well, he's dead anyway, but to help him as best they can. Firing at the front of an IS-6, I understand entirely, but it was a nice flush back turret. Now, I like what Joe does here. Joe is running adrenaline on his IS-2, which means he can flank around the back of these surprisingly quick for a heavy tank. And all of those heavy tanks have not turned around to look at him, just the Tiger II has. At the moment they are focusing his platoon buddy in the STA-1, however the STA-1 is making his way around here and is about to help Joe with the Tiger II. Sadly the Tiger II does set Joe on fire. It does take a little while to put that out, but STA-1 bounces off the Tiger II and Joe does penetrate his lower turret cheek. Now it is just the IS-3 and the IS-6 versus Joe and his STA-1 platoon buddy. Joe does bounce off the beak of that IS-6, but obviously he has a one-shot and the STA finishes him off. Now the IS-3 abandoned his IS-6 on low health to go flank around the back of them. IS-3, I think, made a poor judgment there. Because the IS-6 was left alone, he could be finished off very, very quickly. Now, the STA-1 is capping, which is pretty much baiting him out towards Joe's gun, and Joe is backing up to use the Borsig as cover, which I also liked that. It was surprising how many people will just sit next to a dead tank instead of right behind it, like he is here. And this shot, you gotta love an ammo rack. That was for 1,250 damage, which obviously means he was the last one and they finished him off nicely. Now, Joe did this on his IS-2's birthday, which means he got himself 133,000 credits. I will be honest and say, in my opinion, there was a little bit of unnecessary APCR usage. I can understand the concern he was firing against tier 8s, but obviously APCR into the back of an IS-6 turret I don't think was really needed. But obviously he did spot all those tanks at the start, which also got him that scout medal by there, and it was a tier 8 game, but he was top of the board. with 3,493 damage, 2 kills, and obviously he got himself that scout medal. I must admit, I was quite surprised this wasn't a mastery because it was against tier 8s and because he got himself the scout medal. But the mastery level on the IS-2 is surprisingly high. But Joe, thank you very much for sending that replay through. I genuinely do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed watching that one as well. This replay, I think, is amazing. Now, I was sent this a while ago by Victor Mach from the Mach clan. Now, I wanted to put this up a while ago, but obviously I didn't do subscriber replays for a while. And I don't know if this has been featured anywhere else on any other channels, but I did still want to include it anyway, and I wanted to do commentary over this game because I think this guy can really handle his T-34-85. Now, he is on his way round the flank. He has a friendly Panther medium tank who has not come with him, and on the enemy team they have 3 medium tanks. So there's a high likelihood he is going to run into 3 medium tanks, and I was a bit disappointed to see that Panther didn't back him up. And already we can see Victor has bumped into 2 of the enemy mediums, so he is already outnumbered. Now you can side-scrape fairly well in Rudy, and also the angle he is working here works fantastically, because you hide in that front track wheel, and because of the angle of the T-34-85 hull, it's surprisingly bouncy. So he hasn't got anything to shoot at the moment, but as he pops up, he does take a shot, and he notices another medium tank. So already he is in a 3-on-1 situation with no support from his team. And his team have already lost 1 tank. Now Victor has switched to the APCR here to deal with that M4. I don't blame him. The hull armor on that thing is ridiculously troll, and in a 3-on-1 situation, well, you need to deal with as much as you can, as quickly as you can. Now he isn't spamming it though. You'll notice now he's not shooting at it. He's switched back to his AP. And I like what he did here. Rather than popping around the corner, firing at 3 different tanks, he's taking shots off at the other side to try and help his team. And now he's going to go check where those medium tanks are. And there is one which he's managed to get another shot into the side of. And for some reason he hasn't learned. He has taken another shot in the side. And by the look of it, he is going to get one more. And yep, we got a blind shot into the side of that T-34-85. Now Victor's also using this as his opportunity to break away from that spot he was in, because he was pretty much stuck there. And his team are now losing. He is down to 3 tanks and they have 5 tanks left. But he is about to finish off another enemy T-34-85, which brings it a little bit more level pegging. And he can't see that M4, so he's going to put some shots in, or try and put some shots in, on the enemy T-29. In doing so, he gets his ammo rack taken out by the enemy M4. Now he can't do any damage by here, but he is trying to take the track off. And the reason he's doing that is because it gives him time to relocate, and if he did take his track off there, he wouldn't have taken another shot from that M4. And obviously that M4 is a very competent player, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's waiting until Victor isn't looking at him, and then he was coming out and taking shots. Now Victor's just lost his last team buddy, so he is alone versus 4, which is why he is literally focusing purely down this T-29, because it's the only thing he can shoot at without exposing himself to other tanks. And now he is in a 1-on-3 situation. He's got the M4 on the one side, and then he's got the 2 tanks on his left-hand side, which is why he's looking that way, ready in advance. That's obviously the prime way you'd expect them to come, but slightly different. Where you'd expect them to try and all push him at the same time, they decided to cap instead. So Victor's going to go see if he can get eyes on the cap and deal with that. Problem with going up there is the M4 would have shots on him then. So if it was me, what I would try and do here is try and push around, get the M4, and then go to the cap, because he's got plenty of time to get to the cap at the moment. And obviously the M4 was singled out at that point in time. Now the M4 is regrouping with his team buddies, and now they're all in a similar location. But the M4 decided to come out the building sideways, which did allow Victor to put a shot into the side of him. And now he is in a situation where all of them are in front of him, which sounds like an ideal situation. The problem with that is all of them can fire at him in theory when he comes out. So he is going to go up and get eyes. I don't think he was actually intending on sitting up by there. I think he's just going to go spot. Now he spotted. There's only the Stereomule on this one side, but the Stereomule does have 3 kills and a very, very nasty gun. So he's going to try and pop out, and he's not waiting. You'll see he's not waiting for that shot to aim in. He's literally clutching the shots to see if he can get damage in, while avoiding the return fire at all costs, because, as we mentioned, that Stereomule has a very nasty gun. So if he's literally just popping out trying to take shots in, he has the good potential to do damage without receiving any, or reducing the chance of receiving any. Now he is in a situation where he thinks he's not spotted here, so he's going to make a break for it and relocate to a different flank, which, I gotta give it to him, is spot on. By doing this, and obviously relocating, he's not spotted, so he can appear on the side of them. If it goes to plan, they haven't got any cover on this side, and they're not expecting to take damage from this side. So you'll notice he's popping up by here to see what he can spot, and you'll notice that the M4 isn't even looking at him. So there's one shot into the M4, and the M4 is completely looking the wrong way. And again, he's not going to sit here. There's nothing to shoot at without exposing himself, and he hasn't been spotted, so he's going to take the opportunity, using the great mobility of that Rudy, to relocate again. As he does so though, Stereomil spots him, and both fire at him and both tanks miss him, thankfully. Now he did have plenty of time on the cap, but the cap has now hit 60 seconds, so he's running precariously close to losing this one. He did miss the shot on that M4, I don't blame him. If he stopped there, he would have got nailed. What he wants to do is focus down and see if he can get this cap reset. Sadly though, Rudy doesn't have great gun depression, so he needs to go right the way over the edge, and oh no, he bounced! So the next one hopefully won't, and okay, he's good. We've reset the cap, he needs to get back into cover. Sadly though, that was probably a very difficult point to reset the cap because of the lack of gun depression on, well, Russian tanks. And where this M4 looks to be a competent player earlier in the game, he's now sat there side on, allowing Victor to take all of his health. He then managed to get one clutch shot into the Stereomil, and now he's aiming for the track, and he just misses that one, and that would have been that would have been the perfect situation there, because what he could have done was keep him tracked with the gun behind the building, and he did just take a nasty shot from that Stereomil. Now that Churchill knows he can use the ridge to protect him, because, well, Rudy doesn't have gun depression, and Rudy can't stay out on the ridge too long trying to aim down because, well, that big old German tank destroyer is going to come put a big hole in him otherwise. So he is backing up because he does not want to get shot again by him. As he's doing so though, the Churchill is working his way slowly around the flank. Victor has noticed this though. So when he thinks he is safe, he's going to make a break over the edge. The problem with doing that though is he goes a bit faster at an angle, and there goes his track. And he takes one off the Churchill, it comes around, finishes off the Stereomil. As he turns to deal with the Churchill, he takes one more, and oh no, the battle timer ended. Ah, that's heartbreaking. Just one more minute. Well, I say that, he was on low health, so it could have been touch and go, but I had to share this one. I knew what was coming, and even doing the commentary there, I got so into it, I forgot about the timer. And I knew it was coming, but I forgot about it. But that did mean he did a whopping 4,927 damage. And obviously got himself the mastery badge, but he did only get a draw, which is just so frustrating. Thank you for sending that one through. If you want to see more replays from Victor, he has got his own channel. There is a link in the description. And anyone else, if you'd like to hear my attempts at commentary over your gameplay, please feel free to send it through to the email address on the screen. I set this one up purely for the purpose of getting replays, etc. And as I mentioned before, I will make sure this is a regular weekly thing, because I must admit, it's enjoyable watching other people's replays and commenting on it. I've never done it before, so please feel free to criticize me in the comments below, and I will obviously try to take that on board. Thank you everybody for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.